Today I want to give you some thoughts on artificial intelligence and what's commonly called AI. These days, it seems like everyone is either excited about AI or afraid about AI, and some people are both. And so I want to go through some things. AI has been around for quite a few years. In 1997, the supercomputer called Deep Blue first beat the World Chess Championship, Garry Kasparov, in a game of chess. It was the first time that AI was ever seen as comparable or close to human levels of intelligence. But Netflix has had algorithms that suggest more movies that you might like based on your past viewing patterns for years, 20 years maybe. The auto fill feature on your email is almost a given. People just accept it right now. And 25 years ago, Microsoft Office had what they called an intelligent user interface for their Microsoft Word and Excel spreadsheet programs. It was called Clippy. Some people loved it, thought it was cute. Other people hated it. That might be one of the reasons it went away. But no one was really worried about AI for the past 25 years as it was developing. We saw it mainly for the conveniences it delivered. But now that AI usage has been introduced into the public domain, the average person can see the power, the potential for changes and effects on jobs, society, and things like that. And they go, holy cow, this could really be a problem. And that's where they start to get afraid. What's really changed this year is introduction of the user-friendly AI interface called ChatGPT. Now, ChatGPT changed the use of AI like graphical interfaces changed the use of computers. Until 30 years ago, if you wanted to use a computer, you had to have sort of a geeky skill set to input DOS commands and things like that. And then Microsoft and Apple came up with what's called graphical user interfaces, which are just pictures, which you can point your mouse at or even your finger, and all of a sudden, the process that was represented by that picture comes to life. This is what's called a graphical interface. Now, ChatGPT is a similarly easy-to-use interface with artificial intelligence, and it's resulted in the fastest adoption of technology in human history. Over 200 million users used ChatGPT the first month it was out. That's really an incredible number. So here's how it all works. ChatGPT and other AI systems are known as large language models. After sucking up and reading and storing most of the publicly available internet content, which is about 4 billion pages of content, large language models work by responding to a prompt or a beginning piece of text, adding one word at a time. The sequence of words it produces is the result of a ranking of how many times one word follows another based upon that AI system's reading of all of its data. It's a very simple concept, which has just been expanded with incredible amounts of data in the last few years. So here's an example. And I actually fed this I says, finish the sentence, the car sat blank. And AI gave me two suggestions. One was in the driveway, the other was in a garage. These were the most common occurrences that came after a car sat. It could have been many other phrases. Those were the most common. In one sense, ChatGPT operates by brute force. It's read and remembered more words than any human can, and it analyzes what words most often go together. But how it gets from there to writing long essays that actually make sense, even the experts can't agree on how that happens, and that sort of spooks people. The results are occasionally bizarre, amusing, sometimes even wrong, because fact-checking isn't a part of these systems yet. It will be, and that's going to enable them to do certain things far better than humans have ever been able to do. Remember, right now, large language models are in their infancy. The bugs in the system are going to be dealt with, and probably fairly quickly. Now, AI does have the potential to take over many jobs, a lot of them that are repetitious or overly detailed, so they bore us to tears, most of us, that is, anyway, may go away the way the buggy whip industry did when automobiles came in. Tasks like accounting, administration, teaching, legal research, code writing for computers, graphic design, and diagnostics are the kind of jobs that are most at risk. Where AI collides with reality in unnerving ways is in the creative realms. Plagiarism is going to be a big problem. Since AI generators have already scooped up just about all the knowledge available on the internet, nobody knows exactly what's already been stolen from those who created it and how to keep that data separate if it was not intended to be given away and used for free. This is going to be a legal and regulatory tug of war for many years. Should we be afraid of AI? Many people are. Some jobs are certain to get automated, some quickly, but the Industrial Revolution had similar effects, making many farmers and craftsmen unnecessary and moving 100 million people off of farms into cities. But it took 3 or 4 generations for this to unfold, and people adapted. Electrification and computerization changed the world. But again, it took decades for this technology to roll out and spread. And again, people adapted. With the adoption of AI, we're not going to have the luxury of long time frames. This is going to be happening pretty quickly. It'll be chaotic, and today's versions of the Luddites are going to be screaming for the government to stop the process and protect them from whatever they fear about AI. Will AI threaten mankind? I don't think so. If you think about it, as good as AI is, we can fly right now, but we don't fly like birds. And we can swim right now, but we don't swim like fish. So eventually, I think AI will eventually be able to think, but it won't think like humans do. And that's going to be the big difference. So how does this all affect Shadow Ridge and you, and most importantly, your money? In March, Securities and Exchange Commission Chairman Gary Gensler, in a speech, worried openly that the financial crisis, that a future financial crisis could be sparked, and I'm quoting now, because everything is relying on one base level, what's called generative artificial intelligence level. And a bunch of financial technology applications are built on top of that. Now, Gensler's comment reminded me of the old adage of a herd of lemmings that all rush off a cliff at the same time because they just follow each other in herd mentalities. If most financial technologies are built on a single base data set, as Gensler was warning about, investors using those services may end up like the lemmings, all doing the same thing at the same time. And as history has shown us in the stock markets, when investors do the same thing at the same time, they tend to lose money. This is why at Shadow Ridge, our intelligence is the old-fashioned kind. Sure, we use computers as tools, but ultimately the decisions are made by humans because we're always watching for what's different, what's never happened before. Now, how can a computer who's been educated on historical happenings foresee events that have never happened before, like the COVID crash in 2000 or the financial crisis in 2008? These are things where Shadow Ridge and my firm before I was with Shadow Ridge, Hepburn Capital Management, functioned very well and performed very well during these crises because we saw things happening and said, this is different. All the rules don't count anymore. And we took action. Now, no one knows exactly what's going to happen in the future, including artificial intelligence. But here at Shadow Ridge, we're confident in our ability to recognize changes and react to them appropriately so that you don't become part of a big herd of lemmings. We've often taken care of things before you even hear about them in the news. And this is what makes Shadow Ridge so valuable to have on your side.